Hello and welcome to this week's episode. In this one we talk about MRIs quite extensively.
We talk about holiday clothes and where you could use them.
Then we talk about getting old.
And we talk about the colour purple and how it helps with the getting old.
Not the book, just the colour.
Hello and welcome to Multiple Shenanigans, the Purple MRI episode. I'm Letitia.
And I'm Jeanette. Hello.
Hello.
So Letitia, what have you done this week?
What shenanigans have I been up to this week? I've been trying to construct a holder for a gong.
Yeah, have you now? Why? What? Why?
I inherited this gong from my brother, and he actually swapped it for a static bus stop long ago.
It doesn't get any clearer.
And this gong it's 28 inches in diameter. Don't know what that is in centimetres because I've measured it 72 times, but it's big.
That's a substantial gong.
Yeah, and it's a gamelan gong, so it's an Indonesian gong, and it's very heavy. And for a number of years it's been sat in my cellar, and I've got some friends that are quite clever at making stuff, so I asked two of them, but then that happened to be just before lockdown, and then nothing happened for a long time. And then last week I was talking to a third clever making things friend, and I said to her, surely it can't be that hard to make a gong stand. I've got some clothes stands I can adapt. So we were talking about plans of what we needed to do to this clothes rail to convert it to a gong hanger. And we were concentrating on the length of the legs because it obviously needs reducing in height. And it all seems very feasible, very simple. And then it suddenly occurred to me today that maybe I should just put it up and make sure it actually sustains the weight of the gong before we start this activity. So then I discovered, you know how you put things away somewhere safe?
Yeah, I never see them again ever. Quite fun.
This clothes stand required 4 bolts, four little connecting bolts that I remember putting away somewhere safe. Absolutely no idea. So I'd spent some time with some random bolts that are too long and a lot of gaffer tape and to see if it works. And so far it does standing up and holding the gong. But I've not had it on there for more than 5 minutes because I didn't want to leave it there for too long. But the idea is I need to know that it will hold it.
You're just going to be in bed one night sleeping and just have a bah as it falls.
And the whole house will be like this for days. So mostly I've been thinking about constructing gong stands.
Wow. I'm just going to... Yeah, wow.
So what shenanigans have you been up to the last week or so?
Well, weirdly, also stand related.
Ah.
As if. So, when we moved into our flat, we didn't have stuff because we previously lived on a boat. The man who was selling the flat said, if you give us, I think it was only like 300 quid or something, you can have all the stuff in the flat. It's previously been rented out. One of the things remaining was a set of saucepans on a stand. Now, this goes into my 2 tasks. So I've decided to paint our kitchen cabinets, which is turning into it's a massive job. So I'm doing it. It's taking me weeks. But
that's because you're pacing yourself as you're supposed to.
I am definitely doing that, yeah. Thanks. You recognise my achievement there. But so This stand was with the saucepans on in the corner of the kitchen, but it took up a lot of room. It's a big wooden stand.
Mm-hmm. Wooden stand?
Wooden stand.
Well, that's unusual.
Yeah, probably could have accommodated your gong. No, it's not big enough. So I thought, I'm going to just have to throw this away. It was a bit water damaged, a bit dirty, but it was a Le Creuset one. So at the last minute, I thought, just check out if this is worth anything on eBay. Turns out it was, but it was a bit dirty. So I really cleaned it up to cages, put some nice oil on it, and it sold for £66.
Wow. That was worth looking on eBay for then, wasn't it?
I was so chuffed. Yeah.
That is impressive.
So yeah, I've been doing that. That took me a while, and doing the kitchen cabinets.
So £66 you've made, and you're doing your kitchen cabinets in a controlled, paced way.
Yes, but painting with cats, they're not helping. They're just to live here.
they're not there with their own rollers.
Oh, this is hard work. No, yeah. Every time I get a little bit done, then some fluff, just like a magnet, just goes onto it. So that's frustrating. But like you've observed, being very good at pacing myself. So I do a couple of cabinets. I've only done the undercoat. Do a few stock, but sanding for cages as well. And then I'll do a bit more. But I really get into decorating when I start it, so I have to reel myself in quite a lot. I'm like, I want to do another one. But also, as I told you, and this is what's semi-inspiration for this episode, I had an MRI. Well,
since we last spoke, I've had an appointment for an MRI come through. So yeah, over to you. How's your experience?
Well, I was a little bit like, because of the whole COVID thing, how's this going to go down? I'd had my vaccination, but I wasn't at that 3-week super period. So I was a little bit anxious.
Is this your first MRI?
No, I've had loads because I used to have them yearly on that trial. So I think at the start we had them twice a year. So probably had like getting on for 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was at Queen's Medical, but so I've not had that many at Queen's Medical. They were all in Sheffield. But when you go, there's a little like load of trailers outside. I've never seen that before. Is that been like that for a while?
What it is the MS Society, I think it was, was part of the fundraising to get an additional MRI for the MS use. And then they didn't have anywhere to put it, so stuck it in what they called those things. They used to use them for school extra classrooms, didn't they? Caravan type things.
Yeah, it's like a trailer.
Well, there's two. Is there two there at the moment?
There seem to be about 5 or 6.
Okay, because there was one mobile one, which presumably would be static at the moment.
Yeah, we didn't go anywhere. That'd be amazing.
We're going for a ride in the MRI.
Can we just stop off at the drive-through? Right, go for a McDonald's right now.
Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. So you went to the big fancy hospital, teaching hospital, one of the largest in the country, and then they send you out to the car park to this little unit. Yeah.
It was weird. Hardly anyone in the reception area, which was actually in the hospital. And it was all very socially distant. But then the woman on the way escorting me there, she was like a couple of feet in front of me, started really coughing. Stop it, I'm still feeling anxious.
Yeah.
But in there, it was a brain and spine combo. So it was a long one. But when you think, did I just fall asleep? And that means that you definitely did fall asleep, because if you don't fall asleep, you don't have that question. So I fell asleep, and I do remember somebody saying to me, they said something, I didn't hear it, and then they were like, "Are you okay in there?" I was like, "Yeah, but I didn't hear you," and then they didn't respond. So there was some me sleeping, them interrupting me rudely.
How rude. You go for a nice lay down, somebody interrupts you.
Yeah. But I had a mask on, so I had optimum itchy face, which is because I don't mind an MRI based on, I find the noise quite relaxing. Obviously, that's why I went to sleep. But the having something, I always get an itchy nose every time, and just having to focus and not react to that.
Yeah. That's interesting you say that you don't mind an MRI. I've only had 2, so this will be my 3rd. The first one was when I was first diagnosed, and it was no idea what happened then. The last one was in 2017, and from it I wrote a poem, a thought poem, and that thought poem I then worked on with Contemporary Music for All, which is a contemporary music orchestra, and I worked with the East Midlands group, and so it was my first music score is actually around an MRI, and it's not based on the actual sounds of an MRI, but my recollection of it and how my mind went off. So, and this piece has been performed twice. It's been performed at 2 festivals, at the Coma Festival and at the Nottingham Poetry Festival, both in 2018. So that was really exciting. And the way the piece works, the narrator's voice, the thought, which is my voice, is in the middle. And then, obviously, this is pre-COVID, I should just stress. The audience is tightly sitting very closely around you. And when the radiographer asks them, they put their eye masks on, so they're just focused on the sound. And before they put the eye masks on, the orchestra or the musicians are in front of them like a traditional audience viewing an orchestra kind of setup.
Yeah.
So they put their eye masks on, and then I as the thought get in the middle of them, and then the musicians come and move around them like the MRI sounds move around.
Oh my God, that's epic.
It's my thing. I really like it, but then I've never experienced it as an audience because I was the thought. Yeah.
Can you have another thought person so you could experience, or is that like?
Well, I could have done. I could have had another narrator, but because they were premieres and they were at festivals, I did it myself. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if to hear it with somebody else's thought.
Take it with you when you have the MRI, get a gang of them. Can we just do this thing that I've...
Yeah, can we just rehearse it?
I've been promoting your work with the MRIs, so...
From my last MRI, I had this piece of work that became a piece that's performed at festivals with a contemporary orchestra and a poet and audiences and everything. So there's nothing to be scared of, I don't think. A lot of people are really worried about MRIs, aren't they?
Yeah, for about the first 5 I had, I didn't open my eyes because I thought it'd be like being in a tomb or something. And then one day I was just like, oh, just open your eyes. And all it was like a bit of plastic. And it was just so not scary.
Mm. And you obviously find the sounds relaxing because they send you to sleep. I found them relaxing and they sent my thoughts spiralling off. And then, daydreaming.
They're dead expensive, aren't they, for the hospital to do? And knowing this is why you can't mess it up. Don't mess it up! But you've got to really do what they tell you to do. But there was one time where I just was overwhelmed by, I've got to scratch my nose. And I asked to come out, and I feel bad about that. Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, because it's the staying still. But yeah, it is itchy noses, isn't it?
One time I did turn up for the MRI with, I'd obviously got up late and I'd washed my hair, and my hair doesn't dry very well, so I have to just leave it for ages. Or what I did this day, put it all on top of my head and then just pin it.
Some metal pins.
Yeah. So I get there and I've pretty much got a crown, a crown of pins. I'm about to go into this thing. I've even taken off my ring and my jewellery and stuff. The woman was like, "Oh, have you got some hair grips?" Yeah, just bear with me about 15 minutes where I take them all. You could just tell they were like, "This idiot here, what is this?" If that had been the one where I was like, "Can I come out now? I need to scratch my nose." That would have been bad, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So top tips, no hair grips.
No.
And just relax.
Go to the loo beforehand.
Definitely go to the loo beforehand, yeah.
Wear something comfy. This one was weird because in Sheffield they always put this loads of stuff around your head, but here they just put on some like headphones.
In Sheffield, do you get like one of those things that means you can't move your head?
Yeah.
And in Nottingham, they just trust you not to move your head.
Yeah, I don't think I was really deserved that kind of trust.
Because you would go like that.
I feel like they should give you a photo of the MRI immediately after, like you would at Alton Towers. So you go outside and they put it on a board of your brain. Surely they have it at that point.
I don't know.
You don't have to develop it like a Polaroid.
Send it to Boots.
Yeah. One day it comes through the post.
Well, interestingly, when I was talking to my neurologist the other day, I had a telephone neurology appointment. She said that they couldn't find my original spinal MRI because that was pre the computerization thing. They had my 2017 one, but they didn't have a comparator. So I'm going to have both this time, so they've got a comparator to see if things are developing.
Were the other one just like a drawing?
I think maybe somebody just had a sketch pad while I was laying there, you know. Actually saying that, because it was when I was first diagnosed and I really wasn't very with it. I do remember a man drawing a picture for my mum to explain it. So maybe that was it.
But it does take a while for them to get back to you. I've got no idea what's going to happen with the one I've just had. Nobody says like, "Oh."
Well, I've never seen any of mine properly, apart from the last consultation I went to, which was in the hospital just over a year ago. That was the first time I'd seen my MRI, when I said to the neurologist I'd never seen it, and she showed me the 2017 one. I'd never seen it.
But I think at that point you should be able to have at least a photocopy of it.
I would quite like to have my MRIs. Did you see there was an artist that did some work based on her MRIs, her own personal MRIs?
No.
I think there's lots of artistic things you could do with it that would make it feel more positive.
How did she get hold of that then? I was just in my head thinking, you could colour it in.
Well, you could do all sorts, couldn't you? Yeah.
In one of my early ones, when they were trying to figure out, like, because started off with most of the lesions were on my spine, so they thought might not be MS at the start because of that. But then some more popped up.
Just popped up.
But I remember going to this one appointment, and it was like when you've got a junior doctor just hanging out. So they showed me this screen. So there was, there's some here on the spine, and then there's another. Now you have got some on your actual brain. There's one, and there's another one, and then the student starts joining in, and they're like, "Oh yeah, there's one as well." Oh, and another one that I'm just sitting there thinking,
spot the lesion, spot the lesion.
The mind. This seems a bit wrong. Like they're having a good time finding them.
It's like a game show.
Yeah, or a word search.
So you've actually sat there and gone through your MRIs with somebody? But I never had that.
Well, yeah. And not the last one, but the one before that, I got sent a letter saying that an area that has one, it's got bigger. So it's not a new activity, but they write it in such language that you don't understand. So it's like, this could potentially have got bigger, it might not have. It has all like really vague. So when I went to talk with the neurologist, he was like, yeah, so this area looks to have got bigger. And then he brought out old MRIs. So we compared and contrast, like a spot the difference. And he was like, do you want to have more drugs? I don't know. So, yeah, I didn't have more drugs because he was like, well, it's change. It's not that bad. If you feel all right, let's not give you the side effects that might happen. So it's interesting to see the next one, where we're at.
So how long ago would have been your last one then?
A year ago.
A year ago.
I think it was January, just
Pre-C.
Pre-C and pre the end of the trial. That was like the parting farewell MRI. At the end of it, I got a round of applause.
You'd like a card, like with your own MRI in it. That'd be great.
You've got to get something. Well, that time being really still deserves at least a picture.
I was thinking, because I watched Portrait Painter of the Year, 4 hours they have to sit still while they're having their portrait done. I mean, that's worse than an MRI, isn't it?
Way worse. I mean, they do get a picture.
They do.
They
do. They do get a picture at the end.
Probably
they
really
get 4
good.
different pictures and they get to choose one to keep.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
But still, that's a lot of sitting still. And the confines of an MRI scanner really make it a lot easier. You're having a portrait done, you could leg it at any point.
Yeah.
And that, for me, would make it almost impossible to sit still. Like, you've seen me, I can't even sit still here. I'm like... So MRIs, not that bad.
Piece of cake.
And, it's a novelty. One time Alex came with me to the MRI viewing appointment, and he was just like pissing himself afterwards. Your small head. Because you look really... your kind of depth of your skeleton looks really like you've got this tiny flat body, because you only see almost the innards of it. You see your skeleton, which is weird.
Yeah.
And everything looks small.
It's kind of an instant weight loss, isn't it? So it's like your holiday snaps where you've lost weight because you haven't got all this skin and muscle and fat. You've just got your skeleton.
Do they have like one of those filters on here? Like an MRI filter? And ours would have little blotches on.
Yeah.
What I want to know is also, so there's generally 2 people hanging out doing the MRI. What are they doing?
Twiddling knobs, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean...
I can't remember what I remember there was like a little lobby bit with lots of stuff, and then you go through to the MRI room. But in my head just now, it was like, in the like 60s and 70s sci-fi, when the scientists in the white coats are twiddling knobs here and there. That's what they're doing in my head. I don't know what they're doing in real life.
If you've not had one, there's like a different succession of noises. So it'd be like click, 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 brrr, click, click, click. There's all kinds of different noises. At one point, there was a noise that seemed to go meow, meow, meow. But I don't know how responsible they are for making the next bit of noises happen. Whether they just press a button and then it all happens, or whether they go, next bit. I don't know.
With my huge knowledge that comes from Holby City, which is obviously factually accurate, when they look at an MRI on there, they look at the different slices. So I wonder if the twiddly knob people outside are deciding how far down the slice is, because if they detect what looks like a lesion, do they go like nearer it to get more of an area of that bit? Don't know. In my head, they're doing that, or they could be, as I said, just pressing the button for next, next, next.
Side note for the suppliers of MRIs, can we have a picture? Be nice, just a token of anybody involved with the MRI process. Just something to think over on your next meeting. I'm sure they all would meet. We have a conference.
The MRI conference.
Yeah, just a suggestion.
And I'm sure they'll be watching.
I think it would just improve their kind of
customer relations.
Yeah, they could make a pamphlet or even an advert about it as well. Get an MRI.
Or they could get us to make an advert for them.
Yeah, we should do that.
That'd be brilliant.
And they're encouraging people to stay in this country for holidays. Like me, a lot of people have got not be able to use their holiday wardrobe because of cancellations and stuff. So they could say, use your local MRI for a getaway break. We'll even supply a picture. For the memories for years after, you can look out how your brain was in 2021. Obviously, it's taken a bit of battering over the past year. So capture it now, and you can
keep it for posterity.
Send it to all your family at Christmas. You could all have one in the family. Put them together and a little collage.
Yeah.
Decorations around.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't like that in a card or maybe even a calendar?
Advent calendar. You could open a lesion. See what you find.
What, chocolate? I was going to say a piece of brain, but I don't know any of them.
A chocolate amygdala. I can't even say it.
I'm going to say the bit that makes you a psychopath, but I need to do some research. I need to know more about brains.
So aside from the MRI aspect, purple is our colour this week.
Yes, it is.
And just for the benefit of those of you watching, we are both wearing purple, and on both of our screens, neither of us look purple.
Looks black.
So this is definitely not maroon. This is definitely very purpley purple, because I don't like maroon, and this is definitely purple.
In many ways, it looks very much like the orange top you had on last time. Every week,
not the colour it actually is.
It's going to rock up in that top every week. It doesn't look green, but in this light.
Yeah, I just alternate the two tops and just try and convince everybody whatever colour they are.
Yeah.
So your not black top is definitely purple, and my not maroon top is definitely purple.
Yeah.
I bet they're the same purple again. You never know.
Who knows? I've had to go into my holiday wardrobe. It's like your mum's silk wardrobe, but basically it's just like things I've bought for cheap in the sale, and then I save it when I go on holiday. But obviously nobody's going on holiday. I've just got the refund for the holiday. I've had 2 holiday refunds. We were supposed to go away last year in April. Had to cancel it. And then last September, feeling all optimistic, I booked another one for the following September. Then recently I came to the realisation that that's probably too soon and not going to happen. Got my refunds, nothing lost. Got a purple top to wear today.
That purple top would be potentially your holiday top.
Yeah, because it's a bit glitzy and we were going to Vegas.
Perfect.
But I'm not. I'm here in Nottingham on a Zoom in a glitzy Vegas top. But I had to put a cardigan on because it's a bit short. It comes with a skirt that is high up. But without that, you could see a very unflattering area here, which quite frankly, I'm too old for now.
Well, this purple top, I'm wearing it specifically for the colour because my school, my secondary school that I went to, the school uniform was purple jumper, and I really liked it. But we had moved literally 3 weeks before term started, and we were in temporary accommodation. And although my mum wanted me to go to this school, the borough decided that I could go to the one that to get to would have been a half an hour walk to the first bus and then 2 buses to get to the school. and then a walk. Whereas the school that I wanted to go to, my mum wanted me to go to, was like a 15-20 minute walk.
What the hell?
So anyway, so what she did was, being my mum, she just sent me to the school that she wanted me to go to. So out on the first day, when they have all the first years there and everybody's in the hall and they read out the register, and then you go with that teacher that will be your form teacher, and they read out all the names and they got right to the end and there's just me sat in the hall. They went, "Have we not called your name out?" "No." "Okay, well, go with Mrs. Kerry." They're obviously like, "Who is this one?" "Off you go with Mrs. Kerry and we'll sort it all out." So anyway, they obviously couldn't get rid of me because I was there for 7 years.
You just kept turning up.
I just kept turning up. They couldn't get rid of me. And also, the school uniform you were supposed to buy from the school official school uniform shop was ridiculously expensive. We couldn't afford that, so my clothes came from an assortment of jumble sales and charity shops, but we couldn't get the right purple jumper. But my granny and my auntie knitted me a purple jumper that was just ever so slightly not quite the right shade, but was this shade in real life, this shade, and it had a V-neck like it was supposed to, and the sleeves was ever so slightly bat-winged, but I think that was because my auntie did the sleeves and my granny did the body, and there was a little bit of adjustment went on with the fitting them together.
Like one of those drawings where you do a head, fold it and pass it to someone else.
Yeah, exactly. It was slightly too big for me, but you know, when you're 11, that's okay, you'll grow into it. And I loved my jumper. And in my school, when you got, so first and second year, it was grey skirt and purple jumper. Third year, you could wear a grey jumper with your grey skirt. But then fourth and fifth year, you could wear a black jumper and a black skirt.
That makes no sense.
I know. They don't do that anymore. They all wear a blazer. But that was the rules at the time I was there. And so I got to, like, when I could have worn a grey jumper. I wore a grey jumper a couple of times, but I liked my purple jumper, so I kept wearing my purple jumper. And then, fourth and fifth year, I was like, no, I'll wear my purple jumper. And then I went to sixth form in the same school where you didn't have to wear a uniform. But I quite often wore my purple jumper because I liked my purple jumper.
So you kind of had like arrested uniform development.
I like that. But what's really interesting is that purple jumper that was just slightly too big for me when I was 11. When I was wearing it when I was 24, because I quite liked it.
You were still at school.
No, I had left and gone to work. It was just slightly too big for me. It was always just slightly too big for me. And I did grow between 11 and 24, I can assure you. But however much I grew, it grew just a little bit more. And I loved it. I loved my purple jumper. It was when I was 24, because when I was 23, I went away travelling for a year and I came back home. I got to my mum's and I was like, oh, I've got to go for job interviews and blah, blah, blah. So immediately I reached for my purple jumper and put it on, and my mum said, do you not think that maybe that jumper might need retiring now? But it's my purple jumper. She's like, yeah, but actually look at it. And it was quite threadbare by that point. It had 13 years wear.
That's a very good innings for a jumper. I know that I've got jumpers that older. I can't throw anything away.
And because my granny and my auntie made it as well.
I bet they were well chuffed.
I don't know. But possibly one could imagine, potentially, they might look at it every time thinking, those sleeves.
What, and blame each other. And they fell out because one of them let the other one down. And you're not in, nobody's in the will, and everything went wrong because of you.
Yeah. Maybe they got left a pattern. Yeah. So that's my purple jumper story, which is not actually this jumper, but actually this colour, that being my Queensmead school colour. I'm going to take my scarf off, which is one of my favourite scarves because it has purple in it.
Oh.
I don't know if you know that poem by Jenny Joseph. It's called Warning. Let me just read it to you. I like it. I really like this poem. When I am an old woman, I shall wear purple with a red hat which doesn't go and doesn't suit me. I shall spend my pension on brandy and summer gloves and satin sandals, and say, "We've no money for butter." I shall sit down on the pavement when I'm tired and gobble up samples in shops and press alarm bells and run my stick along the public railings and make up for the sobriety of my youth. I shall go out in my slippers in the rain and pick flowers in other people's gardens and learn to spit. You can wear terrible shirts and grow more fat and eat 3 pounds of sausages at a go, or only bread and pickle for a week, and hold pens and pencils and beer mats and things in boxes. But now we must have clothes that keep us dry and pay our rent and not swear in the street and set a good example for the children. We must have friends to dinner and read the papers. But maybe I ought to practice a little now, so people who know me are not too shocked and surprised when suddenly I am old and I start to wear purple. The first part of that's quite often quoted, the first stanza of that.
Yeah, I recognise it.
What am I going to do though when I get old? Because I'm already wearing purple.
Just be as like a stereotypical conforming old person.
I mean, I should go beige.
You should go beige, exactly.
As a radical move.
And everybody be like, "Oh my God, what's she doing?" She was a beige denier as well.
I don't know. It is a big step, isn't it?
Yeah. Think it through. Think about, think about what people will think.
Think about what people will think. Well, that's the whole point, isn't it? But it's what I would think. I don't think I can cope with being beige.
Don't let yourself down.
No. Up with the purple.
Purple and MRIs, eh?
Purple
MRIs, not that bad. Purple,
pretty good.
Yeah, there you go. We've solved it.
The mysteries of life solved.
I think we've exhausted the possibilities of what we're going to get out of this one.
I think so. So I think we may be reaching the conclusion of this has been Purple MRIs, and I've been Letitia.
I've been Jeanette. Sorry. See you next time.
See you next time.